G'day, I'm Mark from Self Sufficient Me, and you could probably tell through the video that it's a very windy day here in southeast Queensland. Coming into winter, we tend to get these winds, and so I hope it's not too much of a distraction through the microphone. I'll speak a little bit louder, but I can't really do much about it. I'm down here today in my quail pen to do a little bit of refurb and to let go the baby quail, or they're getting pretty old now, 3 weeks old, that I incubated the other day in my incubation test of the new Chinese incubator that I was trialing. So they're 3 weeks old, it's time for them to be let out. They have their feathers, or most of their feathers, and brooding time is finished. Hopefully a tree doesn't drop on my head. If you follow my videos, you'd see that a few weeks ago a large tree fell down and crushed part of the chicken pen. Well, unfortunately I've got many excuses why, but I haven't cleaned that up yet. I've temporarily fixed the fence so no foxes can get to the chickens or anything like that, or wild dogs, but yeah, chainsaw's busted. Well done, still farm boss. So that needs to get fixed, plus I just haven't had a lot of time. I've been doing a lot of other work around the property, and now I just want to get this quail pen done because I can't leave the little quail in the brooder for any longer. They're getting too big for that, and I need to get them out here so that they can start having a bit of fun. Speaking of fun, I've had this idea, I don't know if it's going to really work that well, but I hope it does, of putting some grass into their quail pen. I'm just going to put about a metre length of grass in there, and I'm going to just see how it goes and monitor it. I wouldn't want to grass the whole quail pen. Again, if you watch my videos, you know my ethos around keeping quail. It's fine to keep them in cages, and there's a lot of writing and videos about people keeping quail in cages because they're a small bird and they do quite well in cages. Personally, I like to keep them in a pen, like a chicken, and let them roam around and sort of free range a little bit, get a bit freer rather than in a cage. So I'm hoping that the grass that I put in there can give them a little bit more, I don't know, green to sort of snack on and play on, a little bit like that. It shouldn't get out of control too much because it's fairly well in the shade there, but we'll just see how it goes. So I'm going to add some grass, and I'm going to tidy the pen up and release the young fellas into their new home, and let's see how it goes. The mulch, I've cleared out most of the mulch. At the moment it's the growing season in the vegetable garden, so I'm pulling mulch from all my chicken pens and from the quail pen and throwing it up into the garden because the mulch mixed with the manure is a fantastic fertiliser mulch in the garden. So the pen is bare and it's time to add some extra mulch to that as well. Rightio, let's get into it. I've just laid that with underneath some of the natural quail mulch and manure that we've got in the cage, and that grass should grow well as long as I just keep it watered to start it off with, and then it's a fairly drought tolerant type of grass. It should just be able to survive off natural rainfall after that. I'm hoping that it just gives the quails a little bit more of an extra natural environment, besides being in a nice big pen, which is good. I don't think it hurts to have a bit of grass in there as well. I don't know, it might make it hard to clean. The grass might run and turn into a pain, maybe. The quail mightn't like the grass in there. I don't know, this is an experiment that I'm just trying. At this stage you'll see that there's a few eggs still. We're coming into winter. The temperature now is fairly low. A lot of those eggs aren't real great. They're starting to stop laying because I don't have artificial light here to keep the quail laying on through winter. I let them have a break. Once they finish laying, they can have a rest, and then they produce better the next season, I find. So any of these eggs here that I find in the pen that I'm not going to use, I just break them up with the end of the rake, and the quail just eat them themselves. It's good protein back for them, and it's also good calcium just to eat their own shells back, rather than sort of throwing them away or giving them to the dog. So what I'll do now is I'll just clean up all the rest of the rubbish, just any extra mulch that I can salvage that'll go good on the garden, and then I'll replace it with some nice new fresh mulch. Right, well that's all the mulching done. Pen fully mulched. It took one bag of sugarcane mulch. I've covered it probably about 3 inches deep, but they'll walk it down over time. And I've got a whole bunch of beautiful fresh compost manure mulch from out of the pen. Probably a wheelbarrow and a half full. It's almost like soil. It's that well worked, you know. This stuff can be used sparingly in the garden, just like fertiliser in a way, probably a little bit more than fertiliser obviously. But plants will just adore this and grow like nothing for you. Okay, so I've got the quail now out of the brooder. I've got them in a pet box. They're a little bit crowded, but they're only going to be in there for a couple of minutes. And now I'm going to release them into the pen, and we'll see how they go. I've got their drinker from the brooder. In time, in a few days, the other quail that are in the pen there, the mature ones, they'll teach them where the feeder is, and they'll teach them how to drink out of the nipple drinkers. But just for the time being, I'll make sure they at least have a drink and are familiar with the drinker that they've got in there. You'll see they're immediately playing. It's like heaven. They've got out of their cage, they can fly around a bit. They go straight for the dust and the mulch, and they just love it. Well, there we go. The quails are out of the brooder. They're settling into their new enclosure. I think they're loving it. All that extra freedom. I love keeping quail in a pen like this. You've got them almost free ranging because they're such a little bird. They've got room to flap their wings and fly around and roll in the mulch and play in the dirt. And I think that's a good way to keep any type of poultry really. A lot better than keeping them for their whole lifespan in a cage. I've put the grass in there. Let's see how that goes. It should be interesting. Maybe it'll be a failure, I don't know. But the quail, the mature quail that were here, they seem to be drawn to it. So maybe they'll eat a little bit of it and just like to see some greenery inside their pen. mixed in with the mulch and everything like that. Hopefully it's makes for a better environment for them. I hope you got a lot out of the video, sort of refurbishing a quail pen, letting quail go after brooding, mulching, using the mulch that has been worked over and turned into a beautiful compost, being able to pull that out and put it in the garden, all those sort of tips and hints. I hope you got a bit out of it. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget, selfsufficientme.com is the website. You might like to see a bit of my written work. And that's it. Bye for now.